Hello YouTube and Patreon, this is Nathan P. Butler, and this is our project update for the month of July 2019. Not a whole lot to this update, and you'll probably see me catching my breath a little bit here. This was a month where much of the productivity was just absolutely slammed by the fact that for the first time in in my entire life, but particularly in all the time since doing anything video-wise or podcast-wise, which would be going all the way back to 2002, I got hit with a case of laryngitis. Basically, I got a hit to the throat from the baby, and I was coughing a lot, which is already sort of straining everything. And the first trip to urgent care, like, I don't know. We don't know. Just, here, take this little cocktail thing, let's numb it and see if that helps. Did it help with the stabbing pain and the difficulty speaking? Oh, yeah, it helped for like a minute, and then it was back. Well, okay, so we're going to give you some stuff. You take it. Let us know if you're better in a few days. Started to get a little bit better. Tried to suppress, I can't remember if it was a sneeze or a cough. I think it was a cough to try to keep from waking the baby up, and boom, it's like a stabbing knife pain through my throat. Went back again. This time they were like, it might be a couple of different things, so we're going to give you some medicine for the thing we actually think it probably isn't. And we're going to give you a referral to an ENT, an ear, nose, and throat doctor, to see if they can figure out what it actually is. And sure enough, within like 5 minutes, the ENT doctor was able to figure out, yeah, it's laryngitis. Granted, they had to numb my nostrils and shove a scope up my nose to go down to my throat to take a look, but apparently had a bit of a contusion, swollen vocal cord, and that sort of thing. They think it was kind of a combination of the frequent coughing and the heavy coughing, sort of aggravating it, plus taking a hit just right, all kind of combined together. So suffice to say, I was barely able to speak for much of about a 2 to 3 week stretch. And when I could speak, it was I still kind of am now. It was a lot of catching my breath to try to sort of get it out again. And I would have a tendency to sort of sit down and try to belt out recordings. Like when I did some Patreon commentary recording here in the last month, I belt out like an hour or two of stuff and then have to just keep from really talking much for a little bit because it would just aggravate it all again. So not a super productive month, but a few things did get out there. It tended to be the stuff that I could record in quick bursts and get out there. Plus some stuff to just kind of keep up with, the Patreon obligations and that sort of thing. So before we get into that, since I've mentioned Patreon a couple of times, let's do a quick thanks to all of you who are backers on Patreon. Again, that is patreon.com/NathanPButler. In the tier, which is the $1 tier called the Travelers Through the Butler Universe, that gets you a mention in episodes like these, at least as long as it's still a manageable number, but we'll always get you a thanks at the end of these episodes in the credits, and we'll get you onto that Patreon thanks page in the next edition of my book, A Saga on Home Video. We have Ben P. Stein, Martin Dahl, Austin Pierce, and S.W. Chris. Then in the Denizens of the Butler Universe, those are the folks doing that $5 tier. These are the folks who, aside from what the Travelers get, also get access to those 2 at least audio commentaries I put up per month. Right now we're going through the Clone Wars cartoon series in chronological order. We have quite a few folks. We have Jason Hunt, Bobby Craig, Robert Medina, Chris Morgan, Sam Howard, Stephen M., Joey Zitzman, Jeff Ellis, Chris Lewis, Jeremiah Mustard, and Nathan W. Mortimer. So thank you all for being part of that group as well. And then, of course, we have our Nobility of the Butler Universe, which is that highest tier. That's that $10 monthly tier, where basically you get access to all that previous stuff, but also to those exclusive Q&A videos each month. This month's was delayed about a week from when it would normally have come out, which is usually the first week of the month because of the laryngitis and all. But it was the first thing I tried to record video-wise really heavily to get it out. That wasn't just a quick little 1 or 2 minute type blurb thing. So thank you for your patience, Nobility of the Butler Universe. And of course, those folks include Andrew Bettis, Benjamin Handeman, Gary Sherwood, Ennis, and Brian Snook. So thank you all. Again, if you want to jump onto the Patreon, it's patreon.com/NathanPButler. At this point, we have about 50 or so of those commentaries up. So if you jumped in for 1 month and just did the quick $5 tier, you get access to all that stuff, and then, just drop it off the next month, and then later on when more are released, come back, because you get access to everything in a tier once you have jumped into that tier. So It's not well, I only get access to the stuff that's been going now, so if I want to see all the commentaries and I didn't start at the beginning, I just can't. No, it's nothing like that. It's literally, oh, I want to get all the commentaries, I jump in at that tier, get them all the way back to the beginning. And I guess as Watto would say, saying of which, ooh, that wasn't good. Let's take a quick look at what did come out through Patreon this month. Our last update was uploaded on June 28th of 2019. I think I actually recorded it a couple of days prior to that, so I'll try to make sure that there's anything released right around the same time. I mentioned that as well, but again, not a whole lot of stuff because of the laryngitis and all. So on the 28th, of course, we had the project update, and then on July 1st, we had the commentary released for the Clone Wars episode R2 Come Home, right? Still kind of being in the end of that Season 2 stuff. Now, chronologically, it's a little bit further along, but Season 2 in terms of the airing order. We are doing these in chronological order as we go. That was episode 44, if you count the film in chronological order, which is why I'm saying we're just about to the 50 point, because we also have Forces of Destiny as well. Then we had the Q&A video for the Nobility of the Butler universe released on July 11th. That one dealing with sort of an either-or situation of what's the most frustrating on certain aspects of current Star Wars publishing. And then on July 15th, we then had the commentary released for Lethal Trackdown, the season finale for Season 2 of the Clone Wars. So now, of course, since this is in chronological order, as opposed to airing order, that means that the August 1st commentary will be for the episode Corruption, August 15th will be the Academy, September 1st, Assassin, all those recorded and uploaded at this point. And then I believe the next ones are ARC Troopers and Sphere of Influence. I've got both of those recorded, but have not got them tweaked and uploaded yet to be ready to go. I actually got all of those 5 episodes, basically the 3 mentioned there, plus the other 2, while dealing with the laryngitis. It was basically like I said, get in while I'm feeling okay at night, record a few episodes, stop, and then wait. I'm going to try to do more recording late at night for those, because that seems to be the best time to do it, and as long as I can keep doing that, I'll try to get a bit ahead, because I still want to get back to Forces of Destiny Volumes 3 and 4 at some point to do commentaries, but I got to keep up with the Clone Wars stuff first. Then, of course, you can expect the next Q&A episode for the Nobility of the Butler universe to be sometime in about the first week or so of August, so relatively soon. So get your questions in if you remember the Nobility of the Butler universe, if you want it answered in that episode. Let's see, beyond that, next step would be podcasts. Not a zip, zero, zilch. I haven't been able to get together with Michael and with my throat and everything, and we just weren't in a position to be able to record a new episode of Cloud City Casino, and then Mark has been off doing Boy Scouts of America, or whatever they're calling it now, BS America, BSA, or whatever. Doing that stuff for much of the last month, so he and I haven't had a chance to get together to record either. I'm guessing that our next episode will be on Alphabet Squadron, but it just hasn't been recorded yet. I'm in the process of finishing up probably about the last 2 or 3 chapters of A Crash of Fate, which I got a review copy of, so that will be coming up as well. Hopefully we'll get a chance to record an episode on that as well. Was hoping to do Thrawn Treason fairly soon, but we did get a review copy, but it arrived like 5 days before it was released while I was in the middle of reading A Crash of Fate, so haven't had a chance to touch Thrawn Treason yet. Or, what's the other one? Whatever the one with Vi is, the other one that's tied into, I guess, Black Spire, I guess. The other one that's tied into Galaxy's Edge. So, more episodes coming up. We just have to find a time to record, which is increasingly difficult for Mark and I. Then as far as YouTube goes, again, I tried to get as many of the quick little burst things done as I could, while I couldn't really sit down and record much in this form. I also did manage to get some stuff that was previously recorded, edited, and out, so it was nice to have already gotten that stuff recorded so it could still get out there. So right around the time of the last update, the day before the last update was actually posted on the 28th, we finally had my content breakdown, the content overview of the Kickstarter game from All or Nothing, 1066 Tears to Many Mothers. Then we also had my breakdown on June 29th of Siege Storm Siege Mode, which is a recent Kickstarter card game through Awaken Realms Light. Then we knocked out 3 quick content and component views For Star Wars Legion, some of the last ones of those that I'll be doing, because again, I've cut off the pre-orders. I'm not really playing the game. There's only a couple more still to come to me, but there are still a couple. So we took a look at the Down to ATST Battlefield expansion, and then we looked at the Sabine Wren and Bosk Operative expansions. For the Star Wars role-playing game for Fantasy Flight Games, we took a quick look at the sourcebook Collapse of the Republic, the second one featuring the Clone Wars period. Then came a rather large wave of X-Wing products. So we took a look at the reissue for second edition of the Millennium Falcon, that is the Rebel version of the Millennium Falcon. We took a look at the VT-49 Decimator reissue for the Empire. We took a look at the TIE SF, or Special Forces TIE reissue for the First Order. We took a look at the Resistance Transport, which is actually a new ship for the Resistance faction. We took a look at the TIE VN, also known as the TIE Silencer, for the First Order, which actually has a smaller mini than it did in First Edition. So it's a reissue, but the ship itself is actually a brand new model entirely. Not just a tweaked one, but an actual different scale and everything. I think it's a little more screen accurate in this case. Then we took a look at the Hyena Bomber for the Separatists. We took a look at the reissue of the B-Wing for the Rebels. That's the A/SF-01 B-Wing. And we took a look at the Naboo Royal N1 Starfighter, which is for the Republic faction. So actually a fairly large wave. If you're wondering why we didn't take a look at the deluxe movement tool set, like the range rulers and all that are plastic, I had a broken piece with my original shipment of it, so I wound up needing to get a replacement. Now that I have a replacement here in the near future, I'll be recording a quick video on those. So it is coming, but I wasn't going to do one with a broken piece to show you. I figured I might as well wait until I get a replacement in that I can actually show you specifically. So not a whole lot of stuff for the month. Predominantly Star Wars game YouTube videos for the most part, and a couple of Kickstarter ones that were previously recorded. Of course, all the Patreon stuff, and getting a little bit ahead on recording for Patreon behind the scenes. Beyond that, I do have some news for you. For those who don't follow the Facebook page, facebook.com/Nathan P. Butler author, all as one word, is my author Facebook page. I mentioned previously that Arcbeetle Press, James Wilder's publishing company, is going to be putting out a new copy, a new edition of Greater Good, and this one is going to actually have a bonus in that my novella Echoes, revamped for modern times, is included for free inside that same book. New cover, slight tweaks to Greater Good, predominantly to remove some of the fakey sounding names to bring back the real world type names, like not King International Airport, but Hartsfield-Jackson International Airport, the real thing. That publication finally has a release date, which is July 30th. So, depending on how fast I edit this, either it's right after this gets released, or it's right before this gets released. But Greater Good does have that new edition. You'll be able to find it on Amazon and elsewhere. Amazon's probably the fastest place to get it. I'm really looking forward to finally seeing that back in print again, along with Echoes that hasn't seen print since I did the self-published version back in, 2006? So that'll be a nice one. And of course, it's a bonus in there. There is some news that is probably coming soon about me writing something new. Like short story type new or novella type new. But we have to wait. It is some really cool news that James Wilder just got for Arcbeetle Press that he's wanting to bring me in on. But I'll wait until he has something he can officially report, right? No need to report that until we have something to report. Or at least that we're allowed to report, right? I should have probably made my mouth not match what I was saying there, but no. Don't want to cause anybody any seizures out in the audience or anything. So that's going on. And of course, work proceeds apace on a Saga on Home Video 2nd edition. A few more pictures inserted. Going to be taking more pictures in the near future because I can actually do that while the baby's in the playpen and not have to worry about it as much. And be picking up a few things that'll be showing up on From the Star Wars Home Video Library that are specifically designed for the book to allow side-by-side comparisons. Like, I got a better copy of the Betamax rental version, the video rental library version, from 1982 from the US. And in the process of getting that, also wound up getting my hands on the equivalent beta video rental library initial release for 1982 from both the UK and Australia. So I'll be able to do some side-by-side type comparisons in the book and that sort of thing. So right now, pictures when I get a chance, but also just building up a few things like, hey, this looks cool. This would be cool to feature in the book as a sidebar or whatever. Grab it, bring it in, eventually put it on from the Star Wars Home Video Library, but also keep it there to make those comparisons in the book and so on. So still in process, very much in process with that, primarily with, the picture taking and that sort of things. Oh, I should also mention that I finally made that fateful decision to make room for the home video collection. All this stuff that right now is doubled up and tripled up and just kind of a pain in the butt to display in a good way, because up until recently, most of this far shelf over here, this is the furthest one that way along this wall, a big chunk of that was covered up in Star Wars books. And then another shelf over here, same size as these black ones here, filled with books. And then another one over here, filled with books. And tons and tons, probably like 5 or 6 different long boxes of nothing but Star Wars comics in the other room. I finally decided that I'm going to hang on to the canon stuff right now, because that's all stuff that is more likely to be used for episodes of Star Wars Beyond the Films. And I'm going to hang on to certain things from my Legends collection, such as signed stuff, or Star Wars Legacy, or Legacy of the Force, stuff that I may go back and reread, outside of, getting an ebook version or something and rereading it. But the vast majority of my Star Wars Legends book collection, and behind-the-scenes book collection, and comic collection, is now going out the door, because we just do not have the space. And now that I'm not doing the Star Wars Timeline Gold, I don't really need that kind of reference library. So that definitely means that From the Star Wars Library won't be coming back, but that was pretty much a given, I think. But yeah, finally I'll be able to have more space for this stuff, spread it out, make it look nicer, which I'm very excited about. Hanging on to the stuff I really want to hang on to, which is good. And I've been able to find good homes for some Star Wars books and comics. So if you are someone who has something that you're still looking for, you might want to hop on the Star Wars Beyond the Films Facebook page. That's probably the easiest way to reach out to me that way. Or my author page if you want to, honestly, either way. Star Wars Beyond the Films one is facebook.com/swbeyondfilms. But just, reach out. Let me know if there's something you're looking for, if you want to pick up something from me. My guess is I have a 50-50 chance that I'll still have it if it is a book. The comics are pretty much all spoken for at this point, which is hundreds of comics. Book-wise, hundreds of books too, but book-wise, I want to say probably about half have been spoken for, and the other half have not yet. And this was a damn near complete Legends library outside of like RPG stuff and really little kid stuff. But I knew it was going to happen at some point, because otherwise it was just going to go into storage. And for me, if it's a collection, I want to display it. I don't want something just sucking up space stuck in a box somewhere where it's not going to be used gathering dust. To me, that is inefficient. That is a waste of space. So I want to go ahead and get it out to those who might need it, and in the process bring in a little bit of cash, which helped because now we're having some, house issues where we're having to have things repaired, and that's helping financially deal with that. And deal with the fact that, hey, that Star Wars arcade cabinet from Arcade 1-Up finally went up for pre-order, and it's a $500 friggin' arcade cabinet, but it's so sweet that my wife and I are like, yeah, we're going to put it right outside my Star Wars office, right outside this door over here. We're just going to put it in the house. So something new, something I've been thinking about for a while. It's come up a few times in Q&As, both Patreon and otherwise, and finally I've pulled the trigger on it to finally get the space. But it's going to be nice. Once I get this stuff set up the way I want it to, get it all spread out across these shelves back here, I think that's going to work well. Not just as a backdrop for the videos, but just as a way for me to organize the collection and make it easier to get stuff. Again, busy month. I can already feel my throat starting to go. I'm going to try to get another couple of things recorded here, maybe quick episodes from the Star Wars Home Video Library, and then call it a day. But yeah, thank you for your interest in this channel and my other various projects. Again, the Patreon is patreon.com/NathanPButler if you want access to any of that exclusive stuff, and I will catch you again in a month. Thanks.